to be consistent throughout the season. We need to apply the same deduction for the same ERS that first meet in January as we apply it that last week in April. On any given day, number 1 can be number 6. You've already made the commitment to become a better judge. Challenge yourself this season. Just as the athletes do, set some goals. Prepare for your competitions. Be consistent. Focus while you're in the arena and block out the crowd. These are all things that we expect of the gymnast. I ask you to please keep an open mind over the next 2 days. Clear your mind of preconceived ideas so that new information can enter. Let go of past prejudices and specific expectations. Understand that the college rules are specifically crafted for the 18 to 22-year-old young woman. Just as every age group, program, level has their own specific rules, there are specific rules for the collegiate athlete. So don't second guess those rules. They're there for a reason and they're well thought out. It's our job, we're paid well to do that job, to judge the performance that we see on the day that we see it. We often have the same score at higher levels. One of the difficult jobs that we have is when we judge top athletes, trying to separate them. The only way you can do that is by following the rules. You can never get in trouble when you follow the rules. It's when you don't follow the rules that trouble comes. Sometimes there just aren't enough rules to separate those athletes. So the focus of this weekend is not going to be to give you a specific score. The focus will be to give you a range of scores and hopefully to give you the tools so that when you go back and judge your meets, you can apply those things that you've learned to make the best decision possible. Not to leave here saying, this is a 9-9 routine and this is a 9-5 routine. While handling all of this, you have to make those decisions in a very, very short period of time. But you also should never forget to appreciate the collegiate athlete, the skill, the preparation, and the beauty of that performance. I just hope that this year and coming years we can succeed as well as the athletes that we judge because they do a great job. I'd like to turn this over to Mike Lorenzen, who's going to introduce some of the college coaches, and then we'll get started.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
What a very intimidating group to stand in front of for me. I would like to echo Carol's thanks for being here. This is a very experimental format in some ways, but I think it's also crucial. We in the collegiate ranks have really been trying to do whatever we can to make this process better. And part of the problem for us is defining what is better. We're in a strategic planning audit experience right now as an association where we're trying to figure out and define, partially for you guys, what is it exactly that we're trying to do at the collegiate level. It's very different than age group. It's very different than FIG. It's a whole different animal. And for us, that means looking at who are our primary customers. And the primary customer for us is the student athlete. And our job is to make it the very best experience possible for the student athlete. What does that mean? It means, and there's a trend now in NCAA athletics, that it should be co-curricular with the academic institution. Meaning we should be providing as much benefit to the student athlete as the philosophy department or the sciences or anything else academic that they do on campus. How do we do that? We provide a leadership laboratory. We're teaching them life lessons that they can't get anywhere else. That's concern number one for us. Concern number two, though, is that we're largely being placed in the position of being a professional sport. In the world of collegiate athletics, if you follow it at all, you know the money is growing. In order for us to keep the resources available for the young women to keep the sport alive, we have to justify ourselves to collegiate athletic departments and say, all right, we're here because we have the opportunity to provide an amazing entertainment experience for our fans in addition to a terrific learning experience for our student athletes. You guys have a very direct impact on both of those things. Number one is the enjoyment of the student athlete. Kids love to get great scores, sure, but if they are consistently and objectively and fairly evaluated as much as we can do, then it becomes a great competitive experience for them. If they feel like when they go out on the floor, they are judged for what they do and not because they're wearing a particular leotard, or they've been great in the past, or they've been awful in the past, but it's a new experience for them every time, then that, I think, is part of what makes a great competitive experience for them. Secondarily, though, you may not fully appreciate the impact that you have on things like rankings, and we're changing that system. Many of our efforts are directed towards making this whole thing more understandable for the rest of the world, because we have to go to administrators and tell them, explain to them how exactly we get to NCAA Nationals. Now, if you know that formula, for an administrator, they go, well, we won this many, we lost this many, we qualified, woo, in most sports. For us, well, you see, you take your top 6, and then you can take 3 home and 3 away, and you can drop the high and average the remaining 5, but sometimes you take this one and sometimes you take that one, and then at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter anyway because the other team averaged more than us, and their heads spin, and they just don't have any idea. The same is true for the fans. So one of the things that's going to change this year is the top 36 teams in the country, based on their regional qualifying score, will be the ones seeded into NCAA regionals. This is sort of a baby step forward. That means that every time that you judge a school, you are impacting their national ranking and their ability to move on to championships in the postseason. It's a pretty weighty responsibility. And the almost ridiculous thing we're asking you to do is wherever you are in the country, whatever your team you're watching, to apply the exact same standard. Now, we're a human, subjectively evaluated sport. That's impossible to do. We know that. But what we do want to do is convey to you the sort of things that we look for, and that's why we've brought in some of our very best coaches to sort of add a technical flair to things with some of our very best judges, and to hopefully give you a pretty well-rounded perspective when you sit down at a collegiate meet. What is it exactly we want you to do? As we get forward in the season, as we get through our strategic planning process, hopefully we'll have a very clear answer for that. And it's going to look something along the lines of, during the regular season, we want parity. Parity is a great thing. On any given Sunday, somebody, School A, should be able to go into the gym, and if they do a great job, even if School B has superior talent, if School B misses a little bit, School A ought to be able to take them out. And any of you follow college football? Right now it's insane, right? And part of the excitement is number 2 got knocked off by 27. Well, we like that. Everybody in collegiate athletics, except the people at the top sometimes, thinks that's a very good thing. It makes it better for the student athletes, and it makes it better for everybody that participates in the experience and the fans. And that's the direction we would like to be moving forward in. Sit back, absorb the whole weekend. I'm going to introduce the clinicians that we have present. On vault, we're going to have Mr. Mark Cook, who is the head coach at the University of Arkansas and has a wealth of experience, much more than I, in both the age group level and the collegiate level. On bars, Mr. Neil Resnick, who I probably don't need to introduce him to any of you. He has long been a USA national staff member, and we're very excited to have him in the collegiate ranks. Much of what I understand about the uneven bars, I learned from Neil. On balance beam, my boss is going to be coming in this afternoon, Kristen Smith, who's the head coach at Stanford University. On floor, Mr. Steve Shepard, who I remember the first time I saw Steve about 20 years ago doing triple fulls at camp, and I was amazed then. And he is a very technically knowledgeable guy as well. And we have Valerie Condos Field, who is the head coach at UCLA, coming in to talk a little bit about choreography, and Val does some of the best choreography work in the country. They're all giving their time. I know your time is precious as well this weekend, and we're very grateful. If you do have any questions, this is the weekend where you're allowed to sort of talk to anybody that's here. And I know all those rules are draconian, and I know the burden we place on you guys trying to follow some of these things. And I hope part of what this will do is to help you understand our perspective and some of the challenges we have to deal with. And we're going to do everything we can to make it easier for you, including, hopefully this year, a merged JO and USAG code, so you only have one set of rules. That's on the agenda for this year. So, thanks for being here.
All right, we're going to try and make this easy on you. There is one deduction that is consistent throughout every event. Anybody think of what that would be? I heard it.
Fall.
Oh, yeah, no, you know what falls are. We have to work on falls. What else do we make a decision on? We have an up to landing. Okay, so we are all going to leave this room taking the exact same deduction all year on landings. Yeah, I'm straddling with this computer.